Hey everyone, it's Karen with the Yes Please PaperCrafts, and in this video I'm going to be joining in a YouTube hop to help my friend Joanne Bartell celebrate her 1,000 subscriber milestone on YouTube. And I love watching Joanne's videos, and she makes the most gorgeous layouts. So if y'all have not seen her videos, you need to go and check out Joanne's YouTube channel, and I'll have a link to her channel in the description below. She's also got a lot of people that are joining in her celebration hop, and I'll have links to all of their videos in the description below. So definitely go ahead and check those out and join in the hop. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Joanne recently had posted a YouTube video on her YouTube channel where she shared her layouts. And so I watched that video a couple of times. I was having a really hard time picking one layout to scrap lift, but I finally decided that I wanted to scrap lift the layout she created for Pinkfresh Fridays back in March. She used a collection from Pinkfresh Studio called Happy Heart. It's a new collection, and I don't have anything from that collection. I've been on a bit of a spending freeze, and so I don't really have anything from that collection, but I did love that layout. And I do know that Joanne loves Maggie Holmes as well, and so I decided that I would recreate her layout and I would use Maggie Holmes. Another reason why I decided to use Maggie Holmes was because Joanne had gifted me some Happy Mail a while back, and she included some handmade embellishments using some of the papers from Maggie Holmes. And so I thought it would be really cool to incorporate some of those embellishments that she gifted to me in that Happy Mail. And so this is one of the things that she gifted me, and I thought I would use this on my layout. Isn't this gorgeous? I just love this. And so I'm going to use this on my layout. Now, one of the things that I love about how Joanne does her videos is that she plans ahead. And so when she does her videos, she kind of has some idea about how her layout is going to go together. And I'm just the opposite. I just kind of start scrapping, and I don't really plan anything, and I usually end up taking a really long time. And Joanne is so much faster at scrapbooking than I am. So I thought maybe I would also try to incorporate a little bit of Joanne's style as well as scrap lift her layout and do some of the things that I have learned from watching her videos. Okay, so I did do some of the work beforehand. I planned out my layout. I've got my pictures already matted. I figured out my title and the alpha I'm going to use. And I also cut out some of the papers already. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Maggie Holmes Florist collection. And what I have from this collection is the project pad. I also have this 6x8 paper pad. And when I was looking through the project pad, I didn't really have every paper that was here. I must have used this before, so I'm missing some of the paper. And as I was going through it, I found this paper that has a gold metallic foiling. It's a floral, and it's really pretty. And I wanted to use that to map my layout, but I did not want to use it all up. So I did gut the inside of the paper so that I would have that left over so I could use it on another layout, because it's such a pretty paper. I don't always gut paper like that, but when it's a gorgeous paper, I definitely want to save as much of that paper as I can. So that's where I started. I have this frame that I had created. And one of the things I love about this Creative Memories paper trimmer is it's so easy to gut the inside of the paper, because this trimmer has this measurement on here on the side of the cutting blade. And so you can easily just cut and leave like a 1-inch border all the way around your paper. It's super easy to use this paper trimmer to actually do this. Okay, so that's where we're starting with, is with this mat. And then I have, for my background, I chose this, it's like I guess a cream colored cardstock. And this came from the 𝗬𝗶𝗀𝗍 double dot. One side of it is a cream color. It's almost a little bit distressed. It has like some variation in the color. And on the back of this one is polka dots. And this is the French vanilla double dot paper. Okay, so that's what we're going to use for the background. And then in Joanne's layout, which I'll put a picture of it up here on the screen so that y'all can see the layout, I really wanted to find a paper that had the floral that she had in hers, but I didn't really have anything like that. So I just decided to use do it a little bit different and kind of add something of interest to this layout by using the mat. And but she did have this circular element on her layout, and she did some stitching around it, which I'm planning to do. She also added a title going around the circle, and so I'm gonna use this title, which is Bella Flower, because my dog Bella, I have these pictures of her, and she was sitting in this little pink puffy bed, and she looked like a little flower popped out from there. And so I thought that would be a cute title. So my dog's name is Bella, and the title of my layout is going to be Bella Flower. And I think I'm only going to use one of these pictures because the pictures are really large, and I don't really have room to use both pictures. At first I thought I was going to use both pictures, but I decided I'm just going to use one, and I think I'll use this one here. And the next thing that I did was I wanted to cut out a circle, and the paper that I chose to use was this 6x8 paper pad. And so I decided that I would try to cut out the largest circle as I could. And one of the things that you can do when you're tucking a circle behind things on your layout and you want to make your circle bigger is you can just cut the circle, and you don't have to have the entire circle there, because there's going to be things that are going to cover it up. So I knew that I was going to have my picture right here. The circle is going to go here at the top. And then Joanne had a shaker element on her layout right over here. It was a little window that she cut out. She fussy cut out of one of the papers, and then she made a shaker out of it. And I thought about making a shaker, but then I wanted to use this embellishment that she created for me. So I thought that I would just use this in place of the shaker, and I'm planning to put some journaling in here and kind of create this as a journaling spot. Okay, and I knew that that part of the circle was going to be covered up by my photo and by this embellishment. So I wasn't too worried about the fact that I couldn't get I think this is a 7.5-inch circle. I wasn't going to be able to create an entire circle. And I did cut this out using the Creative Memories circle cutter. I just set that to the measurement that I wanted, and then just cut that out using this. Okay, so that's where we are so far. That's what I have so far. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue all this together, and then we're going to start embellishing the layout, because I pretty much have the design of the layout. And that's one of the really cool things about scraplifting someone, is that it takes some of the work out of creating your layout, because you're just free to you know, get inspiration, to use their design, and to kind of play off of that to create your own layout. And so I just love doing scraplifting and just taking inspiration from other people. And Joanne has a lot of layouts that you can be inspired by. So y'all definitely should go and check out her. She just did a recent layout share where she shared a whole bunch of her layouts. I'll put a link to that video in the description as well, because you definitely want to go and watch that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of the embellishments that I have that I'm going to be using. So I have the ephemera. This is from the Flourish collection. This is all these florals. And one of the things that Joanne did in her layout, it was she created some floral clusters, and so I'm planning to do that. And then I have these butterflies. I love these butterflies that she created. I think they're just gorgeous. So I'm definitely going to be using one or more of those. I also have some puffy stickers. I don't know if I'll use those or not, but this is just all things that I have from the Flourish collection. I have some things here that I think I cut this out of a paper, one of the Flourish papers. I just fussy cut those out. Then I also have the ephemera from the Flourish collection. And then this is another paper that I fussy cut. It has all the butterflies and bugs on there. And then another paper that I fussy cut. A lot of times when I fussy cut something, I will, sometimes if I think about it, I'll just print this out with my printer, a picture of the paper, and I'll put the name of the collection and the paper there. And then other times I just forgot to do it, or just didn't feel like I needed to. And this one is another cut apart that I cut apart on, you know, one of the papers, and it has a bunch of journaling cards there. Okay, and another cut apart. I think after I had gotten this collection, I just was in the mood to do fussy cutting, and I cut out a whole bunch of these embellishments. Okay, I also have these 3D stickers that are really pretty. I have a sticker book. So I have a lot of stuff from this collection. This was back when Tuesday Morning used to have tons of stuff, and I was able to pick up a lot of this stuff at Tuesday Mornings. Unfortunately, Tuesday Mornings doesn't seem like they're getting scrapbooking stuff. I hadn't been in there since Christmas, so I'm not really sure if my Tuesday Mornings has stuff or not, but I've heard from my friends that they're not seeing much in that store anymore, which is really sad. But so I did actually pick a lot of this up several years ago, and I haven't really, I've used it a couple of times, but I really thought that this would be a good collection to work with because I love this embellishment, and I thought it really went well with this Flourish collection. Okay, so Joanne also made me some more embellishments. I have these bows, which are really pretty, and then she made these rosettes, and also have some flowers. I'm not really sure what all I'm going to use. I also have these doilies and then more flowers. And then I just had pulled this. This is actually from a different collection. This is from, I can't remember. I think this is a crepe paper collection. And I can't remember the name of it. But I thought I might pull in some of this. I think it would be really cool to incorporate some of these leaves if I put the florals on my layout. And so yeah, so that's where we're gonna go with this layout. Okay, so y'all know I can't scrap and talk at the same time. So I'm just gonna speed this up and do a voiceover later. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna start off by showing you guys a technique I learned from watching one of Joanne's videos. She likes to do this quite a bit, and I'm taking some double-sided sticky tape and going all the way around the outside edge of this paper, so that when I go to attach this to that very thin frame, I won't have problems getting it lined up. And so I'm going to fold down a corner of each side to expose some of the tape. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a little bit of a stickiness in the corner, but I'll be able to move this around and get it adjusted and lined up the way I want it to be before pulling off the rest of the adhesive's backing. And it really does work well, especially when you have something fragile that you're working with, like that mat that I was using behind my layout. So just like Joanne did for her layout, I'm going to take some fun foam and put it behind my picture to pop the picture up a little bit from the background and give this a little bit more dimension. I'm also going to pop up that little pocket on one side. I'm going to be overlapping the picture with the pocket. And I did decide that I wanted to use 2 of those butterflies. Now, I didn't really know exactly what ephemera I was going to use or how I was going to use those pieces on the layout, and so I decided to just go ahead and play around with the different ephemera to try to see if I could figure out where I wanted that circle to be before I glued it down, because I am going to be stitching around the circle, and I definitely want to make sure I have that circle in the right place before I glue anything else down to this layout. So now that I know where I want my circle to go, I'm going to take a foam mat and put it under my layout, and then I'm going to take this pokey tool and just poke holes all the way around the edge of the circle so that I have a place to do my stitching. And I'm just freehanding this and just spacing it out as evenly as I can and just following along with the edge of the circle. I did poke holes underneath where I thought the pocket would go, and also some of the flowers on the other side of the layout. I just wanted to make sure that I had the stitching all the way around and I wasn't going to have any gaps once I started placing everything on top of that circle. Okay, so I wanted to create a journaling card to put inside my pocket. And so I remembered that I had this paper from the Crepe Paper Marigold collection. It's a pink tone-on-tone grid paper, and I thought it would be perfect to go inside my pocket. So I cut this card at 3 by 5 inches, but it was a little bit too big to fit into the pocket, so I did just cut a little bit more off. And now I'm just going to flip that around and trim off the top, and then use my corner rounder to make the corners round just like the pocket. And I'm just going to tuck that card right back into the pocket, and so that's all ready to go on my layout. Okay, so now that I have that finished, I'm going to start doing my stitching. And so this is an Iris scrapbooking case that I have that I keep all of my stitching supplies. And I'm looking at the different thread that I have available, trying to figure out what thread I think might suit the look and feel of this layout. I did think about using a green, but all of the green thread that I had there was more of a bright green. It didn't really match. And so I did decide to go with this gold thread. It's from We Are Memory Keepers. It's one of the So Easy thread packs. And I've used this gold thread on a couple of different projects, and I'm getting pretty low on that. I wish I could find some more of that. It's really pretty, and I think it'll add a really nice sparkle around the circle. And I'm going to start off by using some washi tape on the back there to hold that in place. The worst thing in the world is for you to do a bunch of stitching and for the end of it to start coming out. And I'm doing a chain stitch here. And that is the same type of stitching that Joanne did on her layout. And the chain stitch is super easy to do. It only took me about 15 or 20 minutes to stitch around this circle. And I think it really adds so much texture, and just it's beautiful to have sewing on your layout. So whenever it's been a long time since I did any stitching, I always go back and watch a tutorial from Paige Evans that she has on her YouTube channel. It's really awesome. She shows 3 different stitching techniques, and I'll put a link to her video in the description below if you're interested in learning how to do this chain stitch. So I probably could have done this stitching even faster, but I was using a metallic thread, and if you've ever sewn with a metallic thread, you know it has a tendency to curl up and twist around itself. And so I did have to spend a lot of time fiddling around with the thread, trying to get it to not kind of knot up and twist. And so that was a bit of a challenge, but I think the metallic in the thread is super pretty, and I really loved the way that that turned out. So whenever I'm doing stitching on a layout, I like to use washi tape to hold down the ends. It really does help to keep everything in place and to prevent the stitching from coming out as I'm working on my project. I also recommend using a pokey tool like the one that I used that was from Cricut, because you can make your holes big enough that you don't have to struggle with trying to get the needle through the paper. And the needle that I'm using is actually a blunt tip needle. It doesn't even have a point on the end. Because you're making holes in the paper, you don't really need the needle to have a sharp point. And I actually prefer to do it that way, because then my hands don't hurt. You don't have your fingers hurting because you're trying to push the needle through your paper. And so you definitely want to poke your holes first before you sew, because if you try to poke the holes as you're sewing, it's really difficult, and yeah, you can end up really hurting yourself. I know, because I've done that before. So if you plan to do stitching on your layout, it's always best to make the holes first and then just do your stitching afterwards. Okay, so now that I have all my stitching completed, I'm going to flip this over and add some washi tape, and I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to actually take my liquid glue and add it to the back of that washi tape, because that way my washi tape won't come up and it will stay stuck down to the layout, because the worst thing in the world is to spend all that time stitching on your layout only to have it unravel. Okay, so now that we have all of that stitched, I'm going to add my title around the circle. I love adding titles around a circle. It's so much fun. Super easy to get them lined up, because you have a guide there to exactly where you need to put each letter. And I think that's really pretty. I love my title, the Bella flower. And I think it really suits that little picture that I have of my dog Bella, who looks like a little flower coming out from her pink bed. So I want to pull in more embellishments that have texture and dimension. And I found this rosette that had a gold glitter heart, and I thought that was super cute. Also decided to bring in some Bramble Fox, because that's something else that Joanne really loves, and she used a piece of Bramble Fox on her layout. I did think about bringing in a bow, but I already had a bow on that pocket, so I thought maybe I would just have that bow and not add another one. I'm going to put in those 2 butterflies, and I'm also going to use some of those word stickers, but I'm going to add those later. Okay, so I also have this circle sticker that I had stuck onto some wax paper, and it says favorite, and it has some gold foiling, and I thought it would be perfect to put at the top of my picture. I also looked at the stickers that were part of the project pad, but I didn't really find anything there. It's so funny. I have such a hard time using stickers for some reason. I like using the ephemera or the die cuts better because you can play with them and move them around and they don't stick to things. If I'm using a sticker, usually it gets stuck somewhere I don't want it to go. Okay, so I'm just going through the ephemera pack and I found that little deer, which I think is just absolutely adorable. And so it's just going to have to go on this layout because that is just so cute. And I'm trying out all different types of things, just trying to figure out what I think would really work for this layout. And I'm going to start going back to the florals and trying to layer some of my florals to create my clusters. I did add some foam tape to the left side of the deer because it's going to overlap the picture, because the picture is also popped up with some fun foam. And then I'm just continuing to layer the different flowers and leaves to make my clusters and to create floral arrangements on either side of my layout. So now that I've placed everything where I want it to go, I'm just going to take my liquid adhesive and I'm going to go under and just apply adhesive underneath. This is something that I see Joanne doing all the time, and usually I'm not brave enough to do this, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to pull up each section here and just add glue under the different areas, and if I need to, having the liquid glue does give you a little bit of time to reposition things and to move it around a little bit. And so I'm just going and gluing everything down, and I really love the way that this layout is coming together. So I wanted to balance the layout just a little bit more, and I had a little bit of an empty space at the bottom, so I'm adding in some word quotes. I added one quote that says "one of a kind," and then the one under it says "love this so much." And then later at the very end, right before I show y'all the close-ups, so I had thought about using the gold puffy stickers from the Maggie Holmes Marigold collection, but the gold was a lot different than the gold that I had used in my layout. And so I went into my stash and I found these other puffy stickers that actually come with the Flourish collection, and I'm going to use some of those in the layout. But before I do that, I'm going to write some journaling. So I got out a piece of the same paper that I used for the background. That's that 𝗬𝗶𝗱𝗲 double dot paper in the vanilla color. And I'm just going to write out a little bit of journaling, and I'm going to tuck that into the pocket. And I didn't do very much journaling. I don't tend to do journaling very much on my layouts. But sometimes I do like to do that. And then I'm taking the puffy stickers and the little branches, and I'm just tucking those gold puffy branches into my clusters and just adding just a little bit more interest to the different clusters. I also added some of the gold puffy hearts on there as well, and I just thought that was so pretty. Okay, so this layout is pretty close to finished, and I wanted to add some of these Pinkfresh crystals to my layout. Joanne uses these a lot on her layouts, and I tried out a bunch of different colors. I tried the pink, the white, the yellow, and that kind of aqua color blue, and I just wasn't feeling any of those colors. I didn't really think that any of those went very well with my layout, and so I decided that I would go in a different direction. And I would add something that was a little bit more suited to the look and feel of my layout. And so I'm using some metallic pearls from Pinkfresh Studio. These are in the gold color, and these are so fun. There are 4 different sizes in this pack, and I love the packaging. It's in like a little Ziploc bag, and it's super cute and an awesome way to store those. Okay, so I'm going to scatter those around the layout. I also decided that I would add 3 of those little dots in between my title and on either end. And that's something else that I learned from watching Joanne's videos. And I think that really does add such a fun touch to the title. Okay, so I'm just doing some finishing touches here, and once I have all of this kind of figured out where I want that to go, I'm just going to take some liquid glue and my jewel picker, and I'm going to glue down all of these gold pearls to my layout. So I hope you enjoyed this scrapbook process video and that you'll join us for this hop to help Joanne celebrate her 1,000 subscriber milestone. And be sure and check out Joanne's channel and subscribe if you haven't already. And that's pretty much all I have. I do have some close-ups that I'll share with you. I also have a short video clip of my two dogs, Bella and 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗲, that I put at the very end of this video. If you want to see that, stick around to the end. But that's all I have. Y'all take care. Hope y'all have an awesome week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye now. Hi girls, how are y'all doing tonight, huh? Hi my girls. Can y'all say hi to the YouTube people? Okay, can you say congratulations to Miss Joanne for her 1,000 subscriber milestone celebration? Miss Bella doesn't look like she wants to talk today. What's going on? You usually have tons to say. And tonight you're not saying anything. No, you're not saying nothing. So y'all look very fluffy and clean. My sister came over a couple days ago and she helped me do some things around the house and she gave them a bath. So that was super sweet of her. Yeah. Yeah, Bella and 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗲𝗀 both love to be clean. They don't necessarily like having a bath, but they like being clean. Right? You like being clean. Uh-huh. Okay. You got anything to say? Nope? Okay, well how about a treat? Would you like a treat? You would? Okay, let me get one. Hold on.